There is also a rumor that 2 seats over is a disguised baby. Taking these theories to an even crazier level, some say that Mary Magdalene fits like a puzzle piece on Jesus' shoulder, as if she were resting her head on his shoulder for comfort. It's also said that the baby fits right between them. This would suggest that Jesus and Mary Magdalene had conceived a child in secret before the crucifixion. Or at least that would be the suggestion if Leonardo had really drawn the Last Supper with Mary Magdalene and a secret baby in mind.
Welcome back to my YouTube channel, or welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Utikas if you are new, and without wasting any time, let's get to the video.
Number 10. The Holy Grail. Hanging on the walls of the Santa Maria della Grazia in Milan is a painting called The Last Supper, a truly monumental piece of work finished by Leonardo da Vinci in 1498. The painting shows the very Last Supper Jesus had with his 12 disciples, or 12 apostles. This scene is a snapshot of the reaction at the table moments after Jesus announces somebody will betray him before sunrise. But it's not only the religious nature of the painting that made it famous, it was the way Leonardo mastered perspective, motion, and human emotion that made it such an instant hit centuries ago. These days, The Last Supper has more conspiracy theories attached to it than any other piece of artwork. Leonardo himself has more secrets in his art than most other high Renaissance artists. Some believe The Last Supper contains a coded message explaining the whereabouts of the mysterious Holy Grail. You probably already know this, but it was the very chalice Jesus drank from during the Last Supper, and then the same chalice used to collect his blood during the crucifixion by Joseph of Arimathea. Leonardo was supposedly a member of the highly secret organization called the Priory of Sion, and he allegedly had information about the location of the Grail. And while he couldn't verbally tell anyone, he could leave a coded message in his artworks to point eagle-eyed observers in the right direction. Although, to be fair, nobody has ever found the supposed coded message in the painting. We don't know if such a message even truly exists. Number 9.
I've seen a few movies where this painting is involved, and there are a lot of conspiracy theories in relation to this piece of art, and it's just interesting to know and see. And Leonardo da Vinci was a very talented individual, and there are also a lot of movies about him. And you should go and research or look up this piece of art in Milan, Italy, and there are a lot of interesting stories around it.
The Mystery of the Orb. Salvator Mundi is a painting that has been attributed to Leonardo da Vinci, created between 1499 and 1510. The painting depicts Jesus Christ wearing a blue Renaissance dress, making the sign of the cross with one hand and holding a see-through crystal orb in his other hand. The orb is supposed to be a representation of the world, the celestial sphere of the heavens and the earth. It signifies Christ's role as the savior of the world. But this painting, while truly a masterpiece, has been one of the most controversial of all of Leonardo's works in the last few years. For starters, nobody is entirely sure if it was Leonardo alone who created the oil painting. It may have been from a workshop or a pupil of Leonardo da Vinci. This painting has a long and complicated history, and right now, no one even knows where it is. After missing in Europe for almost 200 years, it surfaced in the UK in 1900. Then, in 2005, it appeared in terrible condition in the United States. It was a long road to see if the painting was authentic. After much painstaking research, it was put on exhibition at the National Gallery in London in 2011. Then, in 2017, it was sold for $450 million and disappeared. Now it is somewhere in Saudi Arabia, hidden away by order of Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, the same bin Salman whom the CIA found responsible for ordering the murder of the journalist Jamal Khashoggi. The question in the art world is, where is he hiding it, and why? Recently, computer scientists from the University of California created a virtual copy of the painting. These scientists believe that with this virtual copy, they have solved the mystery of who really painted Salvator Mundi. The biggest issue is that the orb in Christ's hand doesn't refract light in a realistic way. Seeing as Leonardo was huge on science and always went with realism in his paintings, it seems strange that he chose to ignore it in this instance. However, using sophisticated computer tools to simulate light, researchers have found that the orb was most likely hollow. If Leonardo imagined the orb as being hollow and built from rock crystal, it wouldn't refract light at all, but would be completely translucent, just like it is in the painting. Number 8.
I did not know that. And in case of the case of the prince buying it and stashing it away, I think it's because he could do it. That's why he did it. And yeah, they kind of do that a lot. But it's interesting to see. We've talked about 2 of Leonardo's paintings so far, and they're all interesting, and they all have deep history intertwined within them, and it's just interesting to see. And yeah, let's go on and see whether we'll see more paintings of him, or there's going to be something different.
The secret baby. There are rumors that in the painting of the Last Supper, Mary Magdalene is the individual sitting to the right of Jesus. There is also a rumor that 2 seats over is a disguised baby. Taking these theories to an even crazier level, some say that Mary Magdalene fits like a puzzle piece on Jesus' shoulder, as if she were resting her head on his shoulder for comfort. It's also said that the baby fits right between them. This would suggest that Jesus and Mary Magdalene had conceived a child in secret before the crucifixion. Or at least that would be the suggestion if Leonardo had really drawn the Last Supper with Mary Magdalene and a secret baby in mind. So, what's the truth behind the rumor? The figure on Jesus' right side is John the Apostle, not Mary Magdalene. The rumor comes from the fact that John looks an awful lot like a woman in the painting. But that was just the way Leonardo drew men sometimes, with effeminate long and sultry hair and delicate features. If Leonardo had really drawn Mary Magdalene into the picture, he could have been charged with heresy and either hanged or locked up for the rest of his life. Number 7. The Other Lisa.
Yeah, this reminds me of a movie I saw a few years ago about a family or descendants of Jesus. It was just interesting. Tell me in the comment section if you've seen this movie, or is it just me?
French scientist Pascal Cotte studied the painting of the Mona Lisa for 10 long years. He was eager to get to the bottom of the mysterious painting and the mysterious woman in it. First of all, the woman in the picture is not named Mona Lisa. Mona is almost certainly supposed to be a contraction for Madonna, giving her some connection to the Virgin Mary. Most historians agree Leonardo used a woman named Lisa Gherardini, a middle-class woman from Florence in the 16th century, as his model. He was, seemingly, trying to transform Lisa into his own enigmatic version of the Madonna. But here's what Pascal found underneath the painting. After 10 years of scrutiny, he uncovered a different face underneath the original artwork. If his discovery is proved legitimate, it's going to flip the world of art on its head. And so far, it's looking like it's true. Art historian Andrew Graham Dixon has corroborated the outrageous claim, saying the original woman underneath the painting was certainly not Lisa Gherardini. It was a totally different woman with a completely different face. The original woman had a much slimmer face, vastly different eyes, less hair, a more revealing garment showing quite a bit of skin, and the most shocking thing of all, she was smiling. Nobody knows what Leonardo did here. It appears that he painted a woman, decided he didn't like it, and then transformed her into Lisa Gherardini through the magic of his oil paints. Number 6. Doomsday Message.
Interesting to know. Like, I never knew that the Mona Lisa had so much history behind it, and yeah, I guess you could see it because the painting is very popular, very famous, I mean, and it's very expensive also. So it has to have a lot more than one might think of at first. But who knows what he was thinking? Could have just done it because he wanted to, and or some other reason we'd never know, because this happened years ago, like a really long time ago.
An outrageous claim has been made that in the painting of the Last Supper, Leonardo da Vinci left a secret message regarding the end of the world. Leonardo supposedly took extreme care to highlight the importance of the number 3. There are 3 windows, and there are 4 groups of 3 apostles. According to Vatican researcher Sabrina Sforza-Galizia, these numbers pertain to a secret prediction of a global flood that will occur on March 21st, the year 4006. Sabrina claimed that by studying the half-moon window above the figure of Christ, adding in the collection of 3s, and doing some insane mathematical gymnastics, she came up with the date for the destruction of humanity. Sabrina also believes that Leonardo had been given a vision of the end of days, and that it's going to happen 2,000 years from now. Number 5.
Yeah, none of us are going to be alive in 2000 years, so I don't think this is something you have to worry about. So maybe the people then will know whether a prediction was true or not. But I think by far this is the craziest theory I've heard about his paintings. But yeah, I guess this video is about Leonardo da Vinci. So yeah, let's watch more and see if that will be the case for the rest of them.
Adoration of the Magi. For 5 long centuries, images underneath the Adoration of the Magi, one of Da Vinci's earlier works, remained hidden. Art researcher Maurizio Serracini used infrared photography technology to uncover previously invisible details, some of which have conspiracy theorists very excited. Out of all of Leonardo's paintings, Adoration of the Magi is one of the busiest. There is a lot going on in the picture, from figures to faces, buildings, plants and foliage in the background, and even beasts. There is enough going on that with a bit of a creative imagination, you can pick up all kinds of clues and interpret them just about any way you want. The truth of the painting is that it's supposed to be a depiction of the 3 kings visiting the Virgin Mary and the newborn Jesus. The big difference here is that there is no manger, there is no stable, there isn't even a donkey. Instead, we see a hill with a tree swarmed by ghoulish faces and men crawling about on their hands and knees. We also see a horseman in the distance and what looks to be a ruined structure. The painting is odd, there's no getting around it, but with the newly discovered traces underneath the finished painting, things make a little more sense. Leonardo clearly hadn't figured out what he wanted to do with it. It was originally a full-blown battle scene. Men on horseback murdering one another with steel weapons. The buildings were also characteristic of ancient Egypt. Leonardo da Vinci had created a nativity scene unlike any other, with the Virgin Mary and Jesus at the center of a battle in ancient Egypt. Nobody has any idea why or what he was thinking. Number 4.
Yeah, I don't know anything about that painting, but it does seem interesting. And before this video, I only knew of the Mona Lisa being attributed to Leonardo da Vinci, but considering how popular he is, I'm not surprised he had many more popular artworks. So yeah, let's continue watching and yeah, see what's more out there, the different kinds of conspiracy theories concerning his artwork.
The Virgin of the Rocks. The Virgin of the Rocks is a truly magnificent piece of art created by Leonardo da Vinci 500 years ago. Researchers from Imperial College London used X-ray scanning and a totally new algorithm to uncover hidden figures underneath one of da Vinci's most famous paintings. This was what art historians call a visual excavation. They discovered partial drawings underneath the finished piece using infrared imaging. First, let's look at a bit of background. The Virgin of the Rocks was commissioned in 1483 as an altarpiece to stand in a chapel devoted to the Immaculate Conception of the Virgin Mary. There were 2 large sculptures of angels standing alongside the Virgin, with Leonardo's painting placed directly underneath the sculpture. There are 2 versions of the same painting still around today. The first was the original, and it's hanging at the Louvre Museum. The second version at the National Gallery in London was also completed by Leonardo. It shows the same scene. but it has slightly different hues and a more somber tone. Both paintings are over 6 feet tall and were originally painted on wood panels. The hidden sketches underneath the London version show a totally different version of the painting. We see the Virgin standing with a different posture, as well as a lot of winged angels crooning over the baby Jesus. It looks like for the second version of the same painting, Leonardo had considered going in a different direction. Number 3. Was Leonardo da Vinci dyslexic? It's been over 500 years since Leonardo da Vinci died. To this day, he is considered one of the greatest inventors and genius artists in human history. But according to researcher Dr. Salvatore Mangione from Thomas Jefferson University, Leonardo gained his artistic abilities through dyslexia. Roughly 20% of people on Earth suffer from dyslexia. Contrary to popular belief, dyslexia does not affect intelligence. It affects reading, writing, and spelling. But recent scientific studies have shown that people who have dyslexia are more creative than those who don't. Not everyone in every instance, but it is fairly common for those with dyslexia to be extraordinarily creative. Thanks to all the recorded history of Leonardo, we know he didn't do well in school. He was bad at spelling. He had at least 9 different ways that he would write a single word, and he just couldn't seem to get letters right. Researchers think he was almost definitely dyslexic, and this helped fuel his creative genius. Number 2.
Yeah, I did not know that he was dyslexic, or had an idea that he was. But yeah, it does make sense. I've read a few books about this guy, and it does seem to be the case. But it's interesting to know, like what has been mentioned, that dyslexia does not affect intelligence, and yeah, it's crazy that I did not know that, especially here where I am. We're not taught about these things, so there could be people out here who have the same issues, but no one knows what's wrong with them and think they're just dumb, but they're not. So I think it's good to know about these things, because it might affect you, or someone in your family, or your kids, or your friends, and it's good to just know what's happening and what's going on.
The Annunciation. The Annunciation was completed by Leonardo da Vinci in 1476. The painting shows the Virgin Mary being visited by Archangel Gabriel. As you may have come to learn by now, just about every single one of Leonardo's greatest works of art had something to do with the Virgin Mary. In this case, she's sitting in a garden outside a Renaissance palace when Gabriel appears to tell Mary she will soon bear a son, and that he will be the Son of God. The Annunciation was a favorite biblical event among early Renaissance artists. Each small detail in the painting has to do with the story. For example, the garden is clearly in bloom, suggesting springtime. People in the 15th century believed the Annunciation was the exact time when God impregnated the Virgin Mary, 9 months before the winter nativity scenes. The final secret in the painting is a single ray of light illuminating Mary's face as it touches her raised hand. That tiny, almost invisible detail is the most important in the entire painting. The ray of light is supposed to be the Holy Spirit itself touching Mary's flesh. It represents the very second that Jesus Christ is brought into the world. Number 1.
I did not know that. Yeah, and this video is all about Leonardo's paintings, and it's just interesting. Like, I'll look into more videos like this, if you're interested. So tell me in the comment section, and I'll do more, or not. If you're not interested, tell me in the comment section, and yeah, that's how I'll know to. That will help me to decide on what my future videos would be about.
The musical code. Giovanni Maria Pala, an Italian musician and computer technician, recently discovered a secret message in Leonardo da Vinci's The Last Supper. Unlike a lot of crazy theories surrounding the famous painting, this message is very real. Giovanni discovered musical notes encoded in the painting, leading to speculation that the Renaissance artist may have left behind a composition inside the scene. Giovanni says it sounds like a requiem. He discovered musical notes by drawing lines between elements in the painting that have Christian value. For example, the loaves of bread on the table, the hands of Jesus, and each apostle. Each important element is its own musical note. The most confusing part was that the musical notes couldn't be read traditionally, going left to right, but had to be inverted and played backwards. This was because of Leonardo's unusual writing style, perhaps a result of his dyslexia. In the end, Giovanni cracked the code and identified a hymn to God. He put together a 40-second-long composition that Leonardo appears to have hidden in the Last Supper. It's slow, and the composition is best played on the organ, but all the musical notes do fit and make sense. Leonardo expert Alessandro Vezzosi believes Giovanni may be the first person ever to have really cracked a secret code in the Last Supper, although what that composition means, or what Leonardo's intention was behind the secret musical notes, is still a mystery. Thanks for watching! Which of Leonardo's masterpieces is your favorite?
Yeah, interesting. So what I've gathered from this video was that Leonardo was very smart, very creative, and yeah, I look into more of his stories or videos or history, and yeah, let's see if I can find any more interesting videos about him. And it's interesting also to see how this fits in with Christianity or religion in general. And thank you for watching, and see you amazing people in the next video.